Handling legal matters is stressful. So, let the law offices of Frank Bruno Jr. provide you with the insightful counsel you deserve. The law offices of Frank Bruno Jr. has successfully handled thousands of cases for 25 plus years. They focus on elder law and estate planning, but are equipped to navigate you through all stages of family law and divorce to real estate law and probate. The law offices of Frank Bruno. Call 718-418-5000 or visit them at frankbrunolaw.com. That's frankbrunolaw.com. Frank Bruno. He's your numero uno.
The Greg Kelly Show.
He really is trapped. He's trapped in the past. He's trapped, and he believed all of... When you start believing your own nonsense and lies, you are in a lot of trouble. My God, because the fake news has not been straight with him. They've not been straight with the American people. And it goes basically since the beginning of fake news. And this is one of the reasons why we call them fake. Remember the Charlottesville thing? This has been debunked by me 10 million times. Donald Trump specifically said that neo-Nazis and white supremacists should be condemned totally. But he also said appropriately and rightly that there were good people on both sides of the debate about General Lee in Charlottesville. I totally get the people who find it offensive and want that statue removed because they think it's celebrating slavery. I understand that. I disagree with it, but I understand where you're coming from, and we can have that debate. Personally, I'm on the side that history should not be erased, should not be wiped out, and that we need these reminders, and it would be foolish and potentially dangerous to wipe that stuff out. Okay? Fair enough. So they used what he said, which I guess is a little bit too nuanced, right? And they said, well, you're saying that neo-Nazis are nice guys. Didn't say it, but Joe Biden, I can't tell if he's lying or if he still believes it, actually. All right, so Diego, you got that one now? We are good to go. Go.
They asked him, they said, what do you think of those people? The people the ones who got killed, the one who tried to stop it, and the ones he said, I think they're fine people on both sides. What American president would ever say, Nazis coming out of fields, carrying torches, singing the same anti-Semitic bile, carrying swastikas, were fine people? And this is a guy who says Hitler's done some good things. I'd like to know what they are. The good things Hitler's done, that's what he said. This guy has no sense of American democracy.
President Trump.
Jake, both of you know that story has been totally wiped out because when you see the sentence, it said 100% exoneration on that. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't run because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last chance. He's not equipped to be president. You know it, and I know it. It's ridiculous. We have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency. His presidency,
they asked him.
He's so right. We're having a debate. It's a waste of trying to justify. The whole damn thing is a charade. Now, again, if you listen to this show, if you engage conservative media, alternative media, if you're not a slave to corporate media and the silly New York Times, you know all this stuff. You already know about the Charlottesville lie. Some people are still coming to grips. Wait a second, that's not true. That's not true that Trump said it. And they're still. Wait a second. What happened to Joe Biden? We heard that negative stories about Joe Biden was misinformation and disinformation. Where did this come from? Well, you've been failed. The media failed you. Not all media, conservative, my buddy, myself included, but James Rosen. Now take a look, take a listen. James Rosen, White House correspondent, great guy, author of several books, including a great biography of John Mitchell, the Attorney General under Nixon. You would think that Joe's cognitive ability would be on the mind of every reporter. Well, it is, actually, but they don't ask about it. Like the laptop. I think last night they didn't even ask him about the laptop. Trump brought it up 3 times. They still didn't bring up the laptop. He's never been asked about the laptop. Isn't that amazing? He's never been asked about the laptop. Anyway, this is all the way back. When was this? This is, let me see here, January 19th of 2022. So this is 2.5 years ago. And Joe is having big problems. James Rosen, correspondent, gets up and asks a very direct, but does it in a very courteous way. Check this out. Go ahead with the Rosen clip, if you don't mind. Okay.
Thank you very much for this honor. James Rosen with Newsmax. I'd like to raise a delicate subject but with utmost respect for your life accomplishments and the high office you hold. A poll released this morning by Politico Morning Consult found 49% of registered voters disagreeing with the statement, Joe Biden is mentally fit. Not even a majority of Democrats who responded strongly affirmed that statement.
Well, I'll let you all make the judgment whether they're correct.
Well, so the question I have for you, sir, if you'd let me finish, is why do you suppose such large segments of the American electorate have come to harbor such profound concerns about your cognitive fitness? Thank you.
I have no idea.
And that's it. And guess who was, guess what they did next? MSNBC and the like, they tried to destroy James Rosen for that question. He was banned from the White House for about 9 months. It was never called on. What's her name? Karine Jean-Pierre never called on that guy. And he's the only one. What does that say about our system, our media culture, where only one guy would ask that question and then be punished for it, and nobody else would come to his defense or ask the same question? What a sick, sick world. But we are coming through it. Roger Stone, the political legend, joins us once again. The Stone Zone. Roger, so good to have you here. What are you thinking right now? Man, oh man, oh man.
Well, first of all, James Rosen, great reporter, as you know, illegally and unconstitutionally spied on by the Obama White House. Outrageous. Great book, The Strong Man about John Mitchell. But look, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I did call this 3 years ago, actually. I said that Biden would not be up to the job, that he would ultimately be replaced. I still believe if they throw this to an open convention and the convention is allowed to work its will and draft a candidate, that candidate would be Michelle Obama. But there are a lot of problems here because even though I think that there was a willful effort here to schedule the debate much earlier than ever. In fact, we've never had a presidential debate before either candidate was legally nominated for president. And it was amazing to me the coordination in which everybody in the Democrat media establishment across the board in lockstep almost immediately after this disastrous debate said Joe has to go. Joe has to step aside. It's as if, I don't know, maybe, Greg, it was set up that way. Maybe it was coordinated that way. Sure looked that way to me.
So how would that work? I mean, maybe do they actually have to be notified, or is there some sort of like mass internal barometer that everybody they knew, okay, this can't last, and we had this suspicion anyway. So because I just don't think that. Look, I agree with you, but I'm just curious about the mechanics of it. We got 6 columns in the New York Times that say he should get out. I feel like it's hard for me to imagine that they were all sent an email giving them permission to do this. I feel like it's like the winds. Everybody sensed the winds at the same time. A lot of stuff is unspoken. In conspiracies, sometimes the best conspiracies are never actually articulated out loud. Do you know what I mean?
You may be right. It may just be elitist opinion. It may just be a fear that Donald Trump is on his way back to the White House, and good God, this guy from Delaware can't possibly stop him. But there's also a lot of mechanical problems. So, for example, Greg, it's too late to get Biden off the ballot in Wisconsin. It's too late to get him off the ballot very shortly in Georgia. It's too late to get him off the ballot, absolutely, in Nevada. 2 swing states there. Very soon it will be too late to get him off the ballot in Texas. So they're going to have to move quickly if they're going to move to replace him. But there's no question that the overwhelming consensus among Democrats, among Democrat Party leaders, and their handmaidens in the legacy media seems to be in lockstep today that Joe must go. Then the question becomes, how do the mechanics of that work? If Joe has enough delegates now to be nominated, and he does, he simply has to release his delegates, announce that he's not resigning as president because he doesn't want to lose the ability to pardon himself and his brother and his son and other members of the Biden crime family, but that he's simply not running. Then they have a Kamala Harris problem. She, under normal circumstances, as you know, as a sitting vice president, she'd be next in line. But the same Democrats who know Joe can't win know that she can't win either. Perhaps they being the Obamas, who I really think are the titular and de facto head of the Democrat Party, offer her the first available Supreme Court seat if she will simply step down. Hillary Clinton will rear her ugly head here. She'd love to be vice president under a frail Joe Biden, or maybe she'd even like to opt for the top spot. I think it's difficult for them, just given the makeup and the importance of race within their party, to replace Kamala Harris or to bypass her, I guess I should say, with someone who is white. So I think that's a problem for Gavin Newsom. Could be a problem for Hillary Clinton.
Not a problem for Michelle Obama. She comes in and nobody, Kamala who? Everybody forgets. And it's the ultimate game changer. I think that's where this is going. People in the know still say I'm crazy. Michelle doesn't want it. But if Michelle wants it, and she does, everything changes. Wouldn't you agree?
Greg, I've been saying this for 3 years. I said it at Turning Point USA. You can go online. I have been predicting it would be Michelle Obama for some time. Now, she won't run. She'll allow herself to be drafted. She will be the popular choice of a runaway convention, and she'll say, oh, no, okay, I'll do it. I think that's exactly what happens. She has no political record to attack in a campaign. She's never staked herself out on issues, has no voting record, no policy positions. Yes, I think that is their strongest candidate. And then, of course, if she took Hillary Clinton for vice president, she'd need a food taster. So that gives you Gavin Newsom. And Newsom will be told he can have the vice presidency, but he's got to bring $700-800 million in special interest money to the ticket, which he can do.
Well, one thing about Gavin Newsom, I think he made a big mistake. He's been overexposed for the past 8 months, and he did some damage to himself along the way. There's something about him that doesn't work anymore. He was like the bright, shiny new thing, and now he's not. He's the Cory Booker of 2024. He's going away. Let me ask you this. Let's talk a little bit about Donald Trump's night. We know Joe was terrible. I don't think Donald Trump is getting enough credit for being spectacular. I mean, totally on. I mean, it was a perfect. 99.9% I give him on the grade.
I totally agree. Extremely disciplined, cool, under fire, unflappable, stuck to the key points that he had decided he needed to make, talked about the positive aspects of his record. I don't know what it is with Joe. I mean, he's delusional about the facts. I'm sorry, but Trump did not lead Joe Biden an economy in shambles. That's just a lie. Just like the losers and suckers that they recycled again. That's a lie, too. Trump never said that about our veterans. 20 people were there. 19 people said he never said it. One guy who he fired said he said it, and that was after the guy was fired. So there's his motive to lie. Then they recycle the Charlottesville thing yet again, as you mentioned. Who's lying? I would say they had the preponderance of lies last night. Trump pretty much stuck to his record and the fact that the world is on fire. The country is in chaos under the sky. Biden seems to be delusional. Nobody in the military died on his watch. Perhaps he doesn't know what really happened in Afghanistan. Trump was excellent last night. I gave him an A+ as well.
You know, the face of Joe was wild. You know, just you watch it with the sound off if you want. I mean, that big jack-o'-lantern, his mouth agape, sometimes, terror, sometimes just he looked like he was in a stupor. It was amazing that nobody told him, hey, you're going to be on camera when you're not talking. He lost without talking. I actually declared the debate over at 9:23. I put out a tweet. I should have put it out earlier. But it took me a while to find my phone. 9:23. I said it was over. All right, Roger. So, also the January 6th guys just got a great ruling today. Where is Donald Trump now? I guess he's going to have a big rally in a little while, right?
That is my understanding. This is a victory lap that he well deserves to take. Look, he is so different than every politician I've worked for. I worked for several presidents, as you know. He never did these debate preparations where somebody plays Joe Biden and they role play. He spent very little time preparing. He knows his mind. He knows what he wants to say. I spoke to him before the debate. He's cool as a cucumber. I mean, he seems to be impervious to stress. It is really amazing. By the way, that's the kind of man you want as president.
He's so unique, so interesting. And Roger Stone saw the potential, in like 1981, I think it was, 82, something crazy like that. I mean, it was a long time ago. And Roger, you helped make this happen. And the country is indebted. Maybe a lot of them don't realize it. They don't understand, but we are. Roger, we can catch you at the Stone Zone and tell me more. Where else? What else is going on?
The Roger Stone Show at 77 WABC Sunday from 4 to 6. Any place in the planet, you can dial into WABCradio.com on your computer from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern on 77 WABC, the crown jewel of talk radio.
Absolutely. It sure is. Privileged to have you as a colleague, Roger. To be continued, and we'll be right back.
Greg Kelly. This is the Greg Kelly Show.
You know, one of the many good things, I'm not going to have to pay much attention to Joe Biden going forward. Really, he's irrelevant. I mean, he's just becoming a footnote. I will, however, at this one moment, play one soundbite of him just a little while ago. This is his spin on the debate. Like this. So this is the final word from Joe on the debate. He has an explanation. He used to be good at it, and he's not good anymore. Let me see this, okay? Let's try this. You got it ready? Okay. This is Joe just a little while ago. He's in Virginia. I guess they hired a bunch of people to yell and scream and shout, and cheer him on like he actually won something someday, somewhere. Go ahead.
Let me close with this. I know I'm not a young man. State the obvious. Well, I know. Folks, I don't walk as easy as I used to. I don't speak as smoothly as I used to. I don't debate as well as I used to. But I know what I do know. I know how to tell the truth.
I mean, no, you don't. That's your calling card. You don't.
I know right from wrong.
No, you don't.
And I know how to do this job.
No.
I know how to get things done.
Wow. All right. He's done. Politically dead. Not coming back. He's dead. Nothing anybody can do about it. He's dead. He's dead. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone.
You're listening to The Greg Kelly Show.
Something else that did not work, and he tried it. I don't know if it's a new line for Joe Biden, but he tried to call Trump a whiner. And Trump does not sound like a whiner. Does he? Never. Even when he's whining. Even if he's complaining about something, it just doesn't work. But he tried it again and again. Cut 17, please. Cut 17.
Well, let's see what your numbers are when this election is over. Let's see. You're a whiner. When you lost the first time, you continued, you appealed and appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none. But you continue
Hey, stop. This is the part where he's getting his voice back. It did slightly improve. He went from a low F to a slight D minus, I'd say. Mark Halperin joins us. Mark Halperin, the political analyst, so brilliant, knows all these guys, all the players. Mark, are you still in shock? How are you right now?
Well, I'm just looking at the Electoral College implications of Donald Trump versus Michelle Obama. I think that's where this is headed, Greg. No, just kidding.
Okay.
You and I fight joust about the question of Michelle Obama. Look, it's still a bifurcated world in the political community. I talk to many people who say, that's it, Biden's done. They say, I can't tell you the linear way he's off the ticket, but there's no way the Democrats would run him. And then I believe the smaller but currently accurate group is a group that says, look at Joe Biden's speech today in North Carolina. Did a rally, but he wasn't gangbusters, but far better than he was in the debate. And the message was basically, yeah, last night wasn't great, but I'm a fighter, I'm a truth teller. So nothing about the body language or words coming from the Biden camp suggests anything, but he's going to tough it out, try to get through the weekend, maybe into next week. And if the polls don't collapse, if the fundraising doesn't collapse, if the support in Congress doesn't collapse, basically say, I was an underdog before, I'm an underdog now, and I'm still with enough time left to win.
So they're just shrugging their shoulders. We got Thomas Friedman. President Biden is my friend. He must bow out. We got Nicholas Kristof. President Biden, it's time to drop out. Frank Bruni. Biden cannot go on like this. I mean, this is their beloved New York Times.
Greg, do you know what those two guys have in common? I mean, those guys have the two things those guys have in common.
Well, number one, I will say this before you had the smart and I'm sure correct answer.
Yeah.
They're read they're read, and the White House cares about what they write.
That's true. But the two other things they have in common, none of them are currently in Jamaica, and none of them have ever been elected to public office. Part of I think the gap here that causes these two groups, Biden must go versus Biden's going to stay. If you're not a practitioner of politics, if you're just somebody who's a spectator, whether you're a columnist or host of a popular WABC radio show, with all due respect, you think, well, it's easy to replace them. You just get somebody else in there. The practitioners, including the people around Biden, of whose, of course, jobs depend on Joe Biden staying in office, they see it differently because they say, sure, Biden says he's going. Well, what about Kamala? And what about all these other people who want the job, by the way, none of whom are anywhere near as good as Donald Trump is running for president? So it doesn't mean they think Biden's ideal, but it does mean they think the alternative looks scary to them. And Biden, if the polls hold up, is still in hailing distance of Donald Trump, despite last night.
Well, practitioners generally work for somebody else, and practitioners generally are influential, but they don't have the final say. And it takes an outsider sometimes to see things and put things together and connect the dots. For instance, like me, who on June 16th,
Manhattan populist Greg Kelly,
June 16th, 2015, I said that Donald Trump will win the election. I said it on television. I said it to Access Hollywood. I was ridiculed. And so, the outside perspective is a valuable one.
I agree. But Greg, if I can just say, your perspective was valuable as an outsider because you were saying what the people are going to do. The people right now, I don't think are going to demand Joe Biden stop running. They already thought Joe Biden was not up to doing the job. The panic currently is not amongst the people. The panic currently is amongst the elites. And I think again, you're thinking, well, of course the elites can look at this and say he can't run. The elites are under pressure from the Biden political machine to stand in line. As far as I know, not one prominent Democratic elected official today has said, of course, he can't be the nominee. After what happened, you would expect some to do that. I see zero.
Well, let me ask you this. The people that you talk to, and you got great sources, and he was up there at Camp David with 16 or so. Half of them, quite frankly, helped Joe Biden, get out of Afghanistan in the manner he got out of. And the same team brought us this. That team, you're telling me, is confident. That team is telling you that they can weather this storm.
That team believes what their boss believes. Number one, that if he doesn't run, Kamala Harris will probably be the nominee and she'll lose worse. Number two, these other people, Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, et cetera, are no match for Donald Trump in trying to start from a standing position and stand up a presidential campaign. And that group knows that their bread and butter, their salary, their political fortunes are tied to Joe Biden. So you ever walk into the office of your boss and say, hey, let's shut down WABC. Let's get rid of it. You're not good at running this station. because then they'd cancel the Greg Kelly show. So,
well, guess what? Do me a favor, pick another station. This is a great station from the top down.
Well,
all right,
no, but that's why it's a hypothetical. I
understand.
My
but this
point.
This is radically no. This is radically different. And Joe Biden is compromised. I mentioned this to people earlier. Joe Biden has multiple. His son is facing multiple issues. I think that he potentially could face multiple issues. There are a lot of people, and maybe we're naive, but maybe we take Barack Obama at his word when he says he would love to be behind the scenes pulling the strings. There's Barack Obama in Washington, D.C., hanging around with Susan Rice. This is not a traditional presidency. Something weird is going on that might even be beyond, some of the best political journalists with the best contacts may not have all the answers. So I don't know. I think there's another level to this that we're not yet seeing, but maybe we will. Isn't he worried about his post-presidency? You don't see anybody. You don't see Barack Obama pulling him inside and saying, "Joe, it's over." Couldn't that happen? Is that beyond?
I doubt he would. But what Joe Biden would say, maybe not in so many words, if Barack Obama did that. F you. Barack Obama was talking about it running in 2016, which in Biden's view allowed Hillary to be the nominee and lose to Trump. Barack Obama and David Axelrod and David Plouffe, his henchmen, have shown no political love to Joe Biden, even when he was the vice president of the United States. He's not interested in doing what Barack Obama tells him to do. He's interested in being president, his wife being first lady, being a two-term president. If the guy thought that he needed to put party above ambition, to put country above personal interest, he wouldn't have run in 16. In 20, he wouldn't have run in 24. So it's not just because he had a bad debate doesn't mean his orientation towards what he values changes.
All right. One other thing on this. If Barack Obama had a talk with somebody at the FBI, because the FBI has been known to get very, very political and have very strange talks with presidents and presidents-elect. And so I think there's some subterfuge and that perhaps some folks aren't giving enough, just allowing that there could be something going on that we can't see and that maybe we don't even understand. Let's talk about something I know we agree about. What does this say? Is this a moment for the mainstream media? Like, they've been covering for this guy for years. They're seeing what I've been seeing all along, or the dam is broke, right? They were covering up for this guy, and now why did they do that? Because these problems we saw last night, they were present before. Maybe not as bad, but they were there before, and they protected him.
Do you know how many pages long my book, The Manifestations of Trump Derangement Syndrome? Do you know how many pages that book is? It's a long book. I have been outspoken, having known Joe Biden for 3 decades. I've been outspoken about his decline. And I reported a month ago that several sources were telling me that his decline had gotten worse physically and mentally. And I have written and believe that the people who covered this up, who colluded with the media to make sure it didn't become a story, will have trouble in the history books for what they did. And the press has Trump derangement syndrome, and saying Biden has a problem risks helping Trump, and their whole orientation is to not help Trump. And I will say this, a lot of coverage this morning in the media, in the mainstream media, what I call the dominant media, has been, well, Biden was doddering, but Trump lied a lot. Last night, Joe Biden stood on the stage and repeated the accusation that Donald Trump said neo-Nazis were very good people. It's just false. And it's been called out as false, and yet he still does it. Donald Trump said a lot of stuff that wasn't true as well. But my point is, it's not like the press is now saying, well, this proves we really need to be fair. We really need to rethink what we did. You won't read any acknowledgments in the New York Times tomorrow of, hey, we screwed this up. They're acting like this is some brand new thing.
They
can't admit their mistake. It's like Russiagate. They can't admit the mistakes. It's too fundamental to their identity.
It is amazing. I wonder if it's fully sunk in. I just saw somebody on CNN talking to Nancy Mace. It happened to be Breonna Keeler, and she seemed to be acknowledging a few things, but I couldn't watch the whole thing. So I am surprised that this is not going to be a moment where they pivot. But I guess
it will be. We'll see.
No, maybe I shouldn't be. I think you're right about that. I think they're too. They won't give an inch. Well, Mark, it is amazing, your insight, your contacts, but this threw you for a loop, right? Let's face it.
Threw me for a little bit of a loop, but not a total loop. I said going in, I thought the most likely thing was the non-event, but doesn't surprise me. I do find it incredible. And again, history will write about this. 7 days at Camp David, giant staff of the most experienced debate prep experts in the history of America, literally. And this is what they were able to produce.
It is amazing. One last thing. You pointed this out first. There's a lot going on for Trump over the next couple of weeks. The convention, vice presidential selection, sentencing on July 11th. And by the way, I think this emboldens the judge to try to put him in jail. What does Biden do with this time? How is he going to, change the narrative, if you will? What does he do as he's going to be naturally eclipsed by Trump?
I think you saw it in today. He's going to be saying, I'm a fighter. I get back down. I get knocked down. I get back up again. It's the wumba jumba message. So it's probably humbo jumbo. What's that thing called?
Mumbo number 5.
Down. No. Your producer right in your ear. I get back down. I get knocked down. I get up again.
Oh, I'll get down and I'll get up again. No. It's
the Chumbawamba message. No. And look, they can't fight the convention. They just have to bracket it. The Veeps thing. They'll say the Veeps extreme, whoever it is. But we're heading to a period where it's going to be about Trump, which may be good for Biden because, generally whoever's in the news is the one who loses between these two guys.
Well, Mark Halperin, keep it up. Greg,
honored to be on. This is like twice in a few days.
Let's.
When can I get to be official sidekick? There's a song. Nice work, production team.
You know what? You're a partner. How about a partner, right?
Partner.
No sidekick. We're a team.
Greg Kelly Show with the partner, Mark Halperin.
No, Batman and Robin. Who's Batman and who's Robin?
How about powered by Mark Halperin? The Greg Kelly Show.
All right.
Powered by Mark Halperin. Bye, Greg.
Bye. Take care. What a guy, huh? He's got all kinds of ideas and making all kinds of comparisons that we may not like, but we like a lot of them too. He's amazing. So, all right. We know that music. We know that song. Give me a call. What is our number again? 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. I'll be right back.
Greg Kelly. This is the Greg Kelly Show.
Such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts. And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Lied! Yes.
It looks like, you've seen that, right? It's a little kid's birthday party. It's a little kid, a kindergarten. Sometimes the experts don't know. They just don't know. They don't get it. And that happens all the time. And this is still supposed to be look, it doesn't really matter. Joe, a nominee, not a nominee. This is looking so good for President Trump, right? Doesn't it? And the merits. I am sick, and I'll get back to, I'll address it later, but the whole thing, Donald Trump lied. No, I'll go through it later. I'm going to make a video about it. He didn't lie about anything, all right? He did not lie about anything last night. We're going to wrap it up here momentarily. Vinny, hello. Are you there, Vinny? Well, never mind then. How about Andrew? Are you there?
Hey, Greg. Yeah, you pointed out how they were biased, CNN, even though their decorum was well, but they never mentioned the Russia collusion lie, hoax, and they didn't say anything about the laptop or meeting with his son's business partners. Biden told those big, blatant lies. And lastly, with the ridiculous, when he says Hitler comment, but I'm not trying to be over the top. Biden has ideas like Hitler. He wanted segregation. He didn't want his white kids to go to a, quote, racial jungle school with black kids. He said, what, black kids have to sit next to my white kids or they can't learn? So that's a segregation. That's a policy that Hitler supported.
All right, Andrew, everything good otherwise? All right. Barbara standing by. Hi, Barbara.
Hi, Greg. I get the feeling that we are being manipulated, that this whole situation is being manipulated. The early debate the very professional job that CNN did, which prevented them from losing total respect from anyone who does not vote liberal, and all of the choir of extremely prominent Democrats coming out and singing the same tune immediately after the debate was over. I think we're being manipulated, and we need to pay special attention, closer than ever, to reliable sources like you, and to pay attention to what Trump said. And it's a very good thing for people to go back and watch Trump's speech in front of the United Nations in 2018. What a president, what a visionary, what a patriot for every American, and a fair man when it comes to treatment of the rest of the world. We need to really hold on to what we know is good and true.
What did he do in 2018 at the UN? I don't remember.
He spoke to the General Assembly. He did it twice, in 2017 and 2018, but I believe 2018 is a speech that I watched a couple of days ago, where he talks about America first, and where he says to all the delegates there, he said, each of you represents your country, rightfully so, and wants your country to be first in your concerns and in your work. Yeah. And the United States does too. We don't wish to conquer. We don't wish to corrupt other nations. We wish to be the best nation that we can. It was a magnificent speech, very similar in a way to the one that he gave on the 4th of July.
Oh, yeah, 2020. We love that one. Thank you. I believe it was the Rocket Man speech. Little Rocket Man. Remember that? And it was great. It sent the message he needed to send to Little Rocket Man, Kim Jong-un. Barbara, we thank you. Mm-hmm. Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you something. I sent President Trump a message before the debate, and I'm so glad that I sent it and I said what I said. Because I sent a message and I wished him luck and all that stuff, and I sent him something else. I thanked him for putting me on Truth Social, which he had done, and he wrote back, Greg, thanks a lot. You're the best. Said something else and all good. And then I was kicking myself. I said, man, maybe I should have told him. Oh, and I said, good luck in the debate. Yeah. Maybe I should have given him some advice. Maybe I should have told him, maybe I should have told him what I should. And I'm like, I was kicking myself. Like, maybe I should still kind of send him a message with some advice. And then I realized, well, then I didn't. I said, I can't send a message now with advice. And it's just a few hours before the debate. So I didn't. And I'm so glad, because he obviously was ready. You know what I mean? What the hell would I have said? Hey, what if I said, President Trump, try to play it cool tonight. You don't have to do, I'm not going to tell the greatest communicator, one of the greatest communicators in the history of the planet, how to do his job. And by the way, he is one of the greatest communicators in the history of the planet. And I'll show you how. That man became president of the United States in 2016. How? How did he do it? It was a bunch of speeches. It was really, you look at his campaign activities in 2016. It was speech. It's like 400 speeches, 400 speeches, 400 conversations, 400 orations. And tens of millions of people went out and did something, and they voted for him, right? Based on his words. I think that's pretty cool. I think it's pretty amazing. It's, and you know what? Let's face it, we didn't rely on TV commercials. Oh, Jacqueline, you're standing by. Hi, Jacqueline.
Greg, really quickly, in view of what Roger Stone said, that it's too late for Joe Biden to be removed from some of the ballots in certain states, especially certain swing states. If you don't know the answer, if you can get someone who does, what happens if Joe Biden dies before November? And I don't mean Kamala Harris becoming president for a short period of time.
No, I know the answer. It goes immediately. If he dies before November, well, number one, she does become president. And number two, she becomes the nominee. That is actually, there's wording in there. When they accept the nomination and for president and vice president, there are rules that say the vice president does become the nominee. Does that make sense?
Didn't have to replace him.
No. There's an understanding. Post-convention, especially, they don't have to, they're not going to have another, there are procedures already set for that to happen. It would be Kamala Harris basically getting promoted to the presidential nomination. Let's hope it doesn't happen.